The czar is a prologue of the academy, not the academy itself. So, under academic comprehension, there is a liminal space that allows for a precedence rather than a setting to be manufacturable. And this manufacturing of the environment is an atmosphere for taking down a discussionary belief on a topic. So belief is not a vindication of a community or a corporation. Corporations and communities are both themselves independent of the forces of labor. And labor is the hand that guides the czar. So if czars are communist, not only do they repel the forces of a priestdom, priests are labeled as capitalists for some odd reason. This is an untrue belief because priests are actually socialists. They have not graduated from communism. They are actually a faction of their labor hands. So if labor hands are the invocation of press, press is a subject rather than an object. And subjects are the ideal democracy being manufactured for the setting of a grid. And grids are linear capacities of beliefs rather than adjacent ones. So to get an adjacent graph rather than an adjacent belief means you take down socialism from all its angles. And angles are the version that you get of socialism rather than socialism itself. So under socialism, versions of media are diplomas, and diplomas are speeches rather than rights. So rights are reserved for the diploma, but they are not jurors of who gets a hand in the market. The market is abolished under socialism. So if there is a market force, these hands of the czar are actually hands of the state. So these hands are not just censorship. They are actual fruit of who gets to learn on the behalf of the teacher. So if you cannot learn from the teacher, they no longer grow for the grid that they are under. The grid is unsocializable. And that's what socialism is about. It's about being social to imagination. So imagination is no longer a democracy in this system. Imagination believes in the dictatorship of the proletariat. And the dictatorship of the proletariat states is that communism is repulsive, not in a odorous sense, but they cannot ingest it. It is a object of belief. So belief is a category that they cannot deny. They cannot just deny the fact that they are involved. They have to subjugate other people to get involved at all. So to subjugate these people, they form a pact called an agrarian-based society. And in agrarian-based society, they feature liberty as if it is a license to take on consecutive arguments. And these arguments are coma and sedentary to who gets to be part of this community. So if there is a communist, that is the excommunication of liberty. And liberty ends when the dilemma is solved through war. And war is the beginning of liberty, not peace. So if war takes place at all in the Communist Party, not only does the fascists begin to take mantle of who is the owner of this behalf of the war, they become czars in fascism. They are electable. So if they go to war, not only does the election begin at socialism, it ends at the ability to fight that war. So the war is a patriotic duty to serve the people through prejudice. And under prejudice, these laws are liminal rather than graphic. So under liminal spaces, they embody the patrician of a guidance rather than a guidance of patrician. And patricians are patriotic in the sense that they are not servants. And if they are servants, they are masters. So masters are both rejected and servants are both served. So not only do the qualities matter in socialism, no matter what your quality is, you get less because it is freedom. So to maintain that freedom under socialism, meritocracy is canceled. You have to retain the vote. And these votes are liberal, and they're a justification for removing a senator, which is a socialist government being a license rather than a duty. And duties are congregation rather than Congress, and Congress is jury rather than diploma. So to get past the diploma, you must get through all of these systems and end up at degree, which is adjacent.